Are we live? Are we live? Hello, hello, 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you guys can hear me, if you guys can see everything, etc. etc. You might be hearing some background noise. Let me see. Yeah, there's definitely background noise. All right. So, because I had I have the windows open just because I just ate and there was still the smell of chicken and I was like, that's annoying. Yeah, okay, so just give me 10 seconds. I'm gonna go close the windows. Be right back. Like that. Okay, there you go. All right. Okay. What's up, guys? Hope y'all are doing good. All right. So let's get going. Um, I was hoping I would have more time before the stream to set up as much as possible because I mean at this point we kind of have an idea of like uh, how can I say like every time the first stream of a new prototype is just me basically like copy pasting the old scripts and I'm just doing it as a force of habit to once again highlight how easy it is to reuse our old code. Uh, Pardon me. Um, Unfortunately, this morning I kind of spent too much time doing other stuff such as eating and other stuff like that. So I haven't had enough time to do as much as I wanted to. But at least we have the player controls, or at least the camera controls, more or less ready. I'm gonna set up um, the raycast script for the MOBA soon. But before doing that, I'm gonna look at a bunch of different MOBAs, right? In order to explain to you guys what kind of prototype I'm gonna be making, right? Uh, so let's say, so your typical MOBA, League of Legends, just League of Legends, gameplay. Okay, sure. This should be good. Hold on, let's look at this. Okay, so you spawn here and then you right click around to move your character, right? And then you have your Q, W, E, R, stuff like that, right? You have your UI here, you have your gold, etc., right? Like that's like your most. Hello, Mart. And hello, everybody else, obviously. So this is like your standard, typical MOBA UI, right? You have the minimap on the bottom. I'm here to steal your bitches. Well, good to know. Unfortunately for you, I don't have any bitches to steal. So, yeah. Um, but yeah. So you have like your item shop. You have your spawn area. You have like the 3 lanes: top, middle, bottom, etc., right? Um, Me personally, uh, like I grew up with Warcraft 3 with the original Dota All Stars. I played League when it was in, I mean, pretty much when it came out. I was like 11 or 12. I played it a bit and I was like, it's nothing new. I know they've made a bunch of changes since then, right? Obviously. But it's just League in terms of gameplay is really outdated in my opinion, right? Now, there are two other types of MOBAs that I personally like a lot more. So let me show you the first one, which is, what was it called? Battlerite. 3v3 gameplay, amazing. Okay, so let's look at this, right? So the way this one works, okay, once again, very similar, right? Like you have your UI here. It's a bit blocked off by the YouTube UI, but basically you have your UI here. You can see the health bars above the different heroes, and the way you move your characters is with WASD instead of the usual right click, right? Then your left click and your right click are like your main and secondary attacks, and then you have spacebar for your your character's movement ability, and then you have the rest, right? Which, in my opinion, this was kind of the first MOBA in a long time to kind of push the genre to the next level, right? To the next step of where it can be. But unfortunately, the developers just let it die. And so, anyways, the more I think about it, the more I'm getting mad. But basically, they didn't support this game appropriately, and they let it die. And no one has picked this up since, right? This type of design. No one has picked it up since, basically. I know less than nothing of MOBAs, but I really liked Smite for what they tried to do. Well, yeah, Smite is another example. Which, once again, you move WASD, you can jump, even though, like, the jumping isn't really used. Like the spacebar isn't really used in Smite, so that's unfortunate. But in this game, spacebar is your character's movement ability, right? Like a dash or a teleport or whatever it is. It's specific for each different character, right? And like here, if you look, you know, they're doing their different attacks, stuff like that. Yeah, so now if you use the space, etc., right? And then the other MOBA that I personally really enjoyed. What the fuck are these recommendations? Jesus. It's Heroes of the Storm. Gameplay. Well, this is from 4 years ago, but whatever. Should be good. Okay. So let's just skip ahead. Okay, hold on. I don't know if you guys can see the mini-map well enough. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see the mini-map well enough, but the idea is that I think the best part of this game, Heroes of the Storm, although it still controls like your usual MOBA where you right-click to move your character and stuff like that, right? It's that each map, first of all, it had different maps, unlike League of Legends that pretty much only has one map. It has different maps, and each map has completely different objectives and mechanics. Now, this map here, again, like I just clicked on this video by pure accident, but it's actually like really fortuitous because this map, as you can see, it has 3 lanes: the bottom lane here, the middle lane here, and the top lane here. But it only has one set of towers each, right? And here, if you look closely, you can see a sort of wall around each core. And that's because this whole area here is off limits to the enemy team, right? If the enemy team walks into this area here where my mouse is, right here, they don't get insta-killed, but almost, right? They get absolutely annihilated, right? And so the idea is... these types of icons here, again, I'm not sure if you guys can see it. These icons here are like altars that appear periodically throughout the game, right? And these altars, when a player channels them for long enough, they do damage to the enemy core, right? And so the point of this map here is whichever team kills the enemy core first basically wins, right? And the thing is, when you destroy a tower, it respawns as your own team's tower, right? So right now, let me see if we can skip ahead. Maybe 1 or 2 towers have been captured. No, not yet. Here, the yellow icons are mercenary camps, which once again are really cool because in this game, in Heroes of the Storm, when you destroy a neutral camp of creeps, you can basically capture it and they respawn as your own soldiers and they go down and push lanes, right? So that's another mechanic that I think is really intuitive and really fun, right? That really changes things up. Let me see if they... Let's skip ahead a little bit more. Come on. I don't know why it's taking so long. Okay, they still haven't captured the single tower. Jesus. Okay. So, I don't know. Like, let's go here. Okay, there we go. So you see here how they've captured like a tower here. So now this tower here is owned by the what's it called? The blue team, right? So on and so forth, basically. So is HUT's the best MOBA then? Well, it's not the best MOBA, but it's definitely better than most. I just think it's a shame that Blizzard just killed it, basically. So anyways, so the reason why I bring this up, right, is because the way I'm gonna use the MOBA example, right? Like I've never coded online. How can I say it? I've never coded online gameplay in Unity, so unfortunately, I'm probably not gonna be doing that today, or for the MOBA prototype, right? Maybe eventually I might return to the MOBA prototype, right? But for now, I'm not really gonna touch it. The online part, I mean. Instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use the MOBA prototype as kind of as a stepping stone towards the other RPG prototypes that we're going to be making, right? And the idea in question is that I'm going to combine the stuff that I really like about League of Legends, the stuff that I really like about Heroes of the Storm, and the stuff that I really like about Battle Right to create a sort of hybrid, let's say, single player prototype for a MOBA-like game. In the sense that you're going to have like a jungle with creep camps, you're going to have like lanes that are pushing, so on and so forth. And eventually, maybe I might try to add a slightly more complex AI for the enemy heroes, but then I'm not sure, right? But basically what I'm saying is that this prototype here, it's not truly going to be a full MOBA game prototype. It's more so going to be like a template prototype for the rest of my RPG games, right? So with that in mind, right now I have coded the player horizontal movement, right? Or rather, rename it to camera horizontal movement, right? And again, this is just copy pasted from a lot of my other prototypes. Then next step, what I'm thinking of doing is I'm gonna add the raycast manager, and I'm gonna use the raycast manager to allow the player character to rotate depending on where the player's mouse cursor is in the world, let's say, right? So let's just go back here, materials, okay, dark gray, perfect. Okay, so let's just create a plane, let's call it ground. Okay, materials, just like that. And now this, let's make it, oops, no, 100, there you go. Let's see, a main camera like that, right? Main camera, player camera manager script, remove. Let's do let's do scripts, MOBA scripts. Let's select this and let's do game manager, player manager, camera movement 5. let's also add cube. Okay, there we go. And now let's see. Like that. Okay. Let's do it like that. Now let's see if our camera movement is working. We MOBA maxing now. Okay. Okay, perfect. Let's see. 15. Okay, there you go. All right. So now we have the camera moving using WASD basically. So what I'm thinking is, what I'm thinking is I'm going to change the controls for the camera from moving the camera object to moving the player character object, right? But before that, let's just, or actually, yeah, let's first set up the player character. So because you got banned from Heroes of the Storm, you decide to make your own blackjack and hookers. Understandable. No, yeah, bro, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with Blizzard. It's just, I hate it. He should make his own breakers. Jesus. No, but yeah, it's just, it's ridiculous, man. Like, modern games are so... Ooh, I'm gonna say it, but I don't wanna shitpost just yet. Modern gaming is full of silly billies, is all I'm gonna say. Okay, so, okay, so let's say, game manager, let's say 3D object, capsule, okay, player, okay, so let's say here, we're gonna say create empty, it's gonna be player objects, okay? Let's say player objects, player character, this is at 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, the height maybe 1. Okay, there you go. Let's give it a rigid body, not affected by gravity for now. Let's rotate, let's freeze everything. Let's make it on trigger, but let's also add, hold on, god damn it, player character, let's do collider, capsule collider, let's move it up. Okay, this one is triggered, this one is not trigger, radius whatever. Okay, so if we double click, okay, so this is going to be our player character capsule thing. Okay, and then let's change yeah, okay, so unlike, if you remember correctly, the first prototype we did was the platformer prototype. Unlike the platformer prototype where I purposefully made it rotate, basically like depending on which angle, how can I say, which direction the player character is rotating towards, if you press W, you're gonna move forward, right? In this instance, I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna do it more standard, where regardless of which direction the player character is looking towards, W is always gonna move the player up, S is always gonna move the player down, D is always gonna move it right, and A is always gonna move it left, right? Yeah, Red Herring, well, Blizzard can go fuck themselves. Man, like, growing up, Blizzard were by far my favorite company, and it's just, they're just, I think the last real Blizzard game that they put out is Wings of Liberty, I think, which came out in 2010, right? So that just tells you how fucking bad it is. Okay, so here we have the player character. Okay, so now, hold on. Here we have the game manager here. No, not this. God damn it. Okay, there we go. Let's rename this to player horizontal movement camera, movement manager. What the fuck am I saying? Player movement object. Player movement speed. Okay, player movement speed. Player movement object. Okay. Okay, so now, in theory, if I were, to do this, player movement, it's gonna be this, like that, okay, and then player camera object is gonna be like this, okay, so let's see. Yeah, that's about at the center of the screen, right? Okay. Okay, let me just do this. Online gaming in general can go fuck itself. It's not fun anymore. I agree. Last online game I tried to play was Dead by Daylight, and I only met cheaters. Yeah. Okay, hold on. So now. Oh fuck. Okay. 15. Hey, there you go. Okay, so now we're moving normally. Okay, so this is the player character. Okay, we're moving around, and now the next step is to make our player character rotate towards. Now the problem is, because it's a capsule with nothing else, we can't really see in which direction it's rotating. So I'm just going to add another child entity. Let's make it a capsule as well, and let's call it pointer. Okay, let's rotate it by 90. Let's make it like that. Okay, where is this? Okay, this is forward. Okay, so now we're gonna do like that. There you go. That's the pointer. Okay, and actually we might also, let's remove this. Okay, let's do where's the sphere, and then duplicate. All right. Oh, hold on. There. No, it has to be small. Okay, it has to be small. Okay, there's no shame in it being small. Okay. There is no shame. Hold on. Hold on. Folder. Create material. What are we gonna call it? Glowing white. Alright, hold on. Okay, 2 should be good enough. Okay, no, it's not good enough. Hold on. Okay. Now make it as bright as possible. Come on, bitch. Alright, so hopefully it should be good enough. Okay. It should be glowing. Why is it not glowing? Anyways, good enough, okay? He's just making a nose for a huge forehead. Yep, that's exactly it. How will it go deeper then? I don't know. Okay, so this is the pointer. Okay, YouTube is too childish to know what we're seeing right now. Exactly, exactly. You're seeing a work of art, okay? Okay, so this here, okay, is the pointer, right? So whichever way this faces is clearly the way in which the player character is facing. Okay, so now... Okay, now let's create the, what's it called? The raycast script. Okay, let's go script, MOBA script. MOBA behavior, raycast manager, MOBA. Okay. All right. Come on, bitch. Okay, there you go. Let's go here, raycast this. By the way, I have no idea how long today's stream is gonna be, but it's probably gonna be a bit on the shorter end. Just because I want a little bit of time to prepare the next stream after this one, where it's gonna be the second stream where I'm making the galactic map for my game. If you guys are interested in joining me, and it's gonna be more chill, so we're gonna be able to go into voice chat for those of you interested. Hold on. Excuse me, Zer, but I can't allow you to post this. YouTube is for La Heckin' Big Chungus. Jose Marino, calm down. I'm going to report you. Yep. If only AGT was here to set you straight, ready. Yeah, okay. Okay, this we don't need. Oh. Okay. Let's do it like that. Okay, just be right back 5 seconds. Alright. Getting a little warm, turn the AC on. Let's rename this to player interaction layer mask, sure. And this it's going to be other layer mask, just because for now I'm not really sure what else I'm gonna do with them. Okay, let's do this like that. Literally just copy paste this. Okay. Oops. Raycast manager MOBA. Fuck. MOBA raycast manager MOBA instance. Okay, perfect. Now let's set up. Let's set this up right here. Mouse over UI. Again, I'm just copy pasting stuff from the city builder project. Okay, so this is good. Okay, so I guess I could use yeah, because this one is just a little too complicated for my taste. Okay, so let's use this now. Oops. Okay, there you go. And now here instead it's going to be player interaction. Right, guys, I'm gonna name it player interaction for now, just as a general rule of thumb. Okay, mouse coordinates player, mouse ray player. Okay. And here we're gonna do it in the player interaction layer mask. Okay, there we go. Interaction raycast, player interaction raycast. Okay, there you go. Player interaction raycast. And then if it collides with, let's say terrain. Okay, terrain. And now let's just do this. Hold on. Okay, so let's do this like that. Header is going to be player interaction or player interaction variables, or I guess just player variables. Jesus. Now here we're gonna do public game object player interaction indicator object. Yeah. Oh, and public game object current terrain object. Okay. So now here what we're gonna do is let me just check. Haha, there you go. Move the player indicator to the hit point. So indicator, player indicator object dot transform dot position equals mouse coordinates player dot point. Okay, and then immediately, hold on, let's do this. Public game object player movement object. We're gonna say player movement object dot look at dot transform dot look at. Oh, well, I can do mouse coordinates dot point, or I can do the exact same thing, right? Oops, hold on. Or I can do the exact same thing, except use this, basically, right? For now, we're gonna remove this, but I personally prefer using this just because it's following this game object. So if there are any bugs or whatever, we can see it easier. Howdy guys, I'm catching up on the stream. Oh hey, Piers Taylor. I'm still amazed at how often you show up to the streams, even though it's like 1 in the morning in Australia. It's crazy. Okay, so file, save all. Okay, so now with that being said, okay, this doesn't matter, nothing here has been changed. Okay, and it is, oops, hold on. It is at layer 13, player interaction layer, perfect. So player interaction layer. So let's go here, let's, oh, okay, hold on, we're gonna move it to layer, we're gonna move it to layer 16, player interaction. Okay, layer 16, and then this is gonna be other for now. Okay, so let's move, oops, for fuck's sake, let's click on the wrong one. That's gonna be 17, that one's gonna be 16, 16, 17, right? Let's wait for it to activate. Let's go back to check our layers. Okay, player interaction. Okay, perfect. So where's our ground, or let's call it terrain tag. Let's add a tag called terrain. Okay, perfect. Now let's click on terrain again. Terrain, and then this player interaction. Okay, so now in theory, save. Now in theory, if we go here, oh wait, I need to add my my raycast script like that. Canvas object is here, event system object is here, player movement, no, it's gonna be player character, like that. Let's create another object here. Let's make it a sphere. Let's remove this component. Player interaction, indicator, player interaction indicator. Yeah, okay, player interaction indicator. We're not gonna put it as a child of this object, otherwise it would be moving along with the rest, right? So that's why we're not doing anything like that. Okay, let me just go back here. Player objects, player character, player indicator, and current terrain object. Oops. Save. No, here. Hold on, and let's also just do player. No, it's gonna be current terrain object. Current terrain object equals what is it? Equals dot collider dot game object. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now that I've set this up, I've just done it so that we can properly see which we're making huts too now. Yeah, well, not really, but it's just I'm gonna use some of these types of mechanics found in games like Battlerite or Heroes of the Storm or League of Legends to kind of use this prototype as a prototype for all the other games we're going to be making, right? So this one, let's just put it at 000, like that. Oops, let's go materials, transparent, white, transparent, like that. Okay. Or you know what? Yeah, let's not make it transparent. Okay. So now let's see. In theory, it should be working. In theory. How do you implement pain, suffering, and wasted time and brainless teammates? Okay, there you go. So you see? Okay, hold on. Maybe I'm gonna zoom in a bit. I'm gonna zoom the camera in a little bit. Hold on. Like that here. Let's do it at 10 and minus 15. Is that good looking? Nope. 10. Is that better? Are we centered here? Yes, we are. Okay, perfect. Or maybe 15 minus 15. No, 12.5 minus 12. Yeah, okay, that's a bit better. Okay. All right, so let's do it like that. Let's do it like that. And now again, we're still using the same UI as the city builder. Okay, there you go. Perfect. See, so now, it's not actually moving. Interesting. Or could it be because? Okay, interesting. Okay. All right, let's do this. Player object, like that. Where's player character is the thing rotating? Yeah, so this thing should not be affected by the rotation, but also, oh fuck. Also, okay, what I'm gonna do is here, okay, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna create a temporary vector 3 called direction to look at v3 equals new vector 3 okay, hold on. Player movement object player parent object. Okay, so it's gonna be player parent object dot transform dot no. Okay, this is wrong, but we're gonna keep it just for now. It's gonna be indicator object dot transform dot x. Whoops. Then this dot indicator dot transform dot z dot position dot z. Okay, transform dot position dot z, transform dot position dot y. Okay, like that. Okay, and then let's do it like that. Okay, this is a little chaotic, but let's say equals to this. Like that. Okay, there you go. Okay, and then look at, so instead of, hold on, instead of doing this like that, boom, let's move this one, oops, update current terrain object. Okay, again, we're just like restructuring everything for it to be easier to look at, to read basically. Okay, so now let's look. Okay, where's the report toxic behavior button? Because making Pokemon Unite 2 before our very eyes. I've actually never played a single Pokemon game in my life, believe it or not. Funny enough, the first was also made in Unity. Oh, interesting. Where are the pro players that like what? That hey, Pokemon Unite, yeah, get shut down. We know who to call to remake the service. Jeez. Okay. Okay, we've saved everything. All right. Ah, shit. Hold on. Player parent object. There you go. Okay. Let's press play. And now hopefully... No, it's still doing this. It shouldn't be doing this. It should... Yeah, and it's not letting me move. Okay, interesting. Ah, I'm stupid. It's because it reset the speed. That's why we're not moving. Okay, hold on. Ah, there you go. Okay, so now we're moving. And again, as you can see, regardless of which direction we're looking at, right? We're moving, so you see what the problem is? If I move directly underneath the player like that, right? Look at what happens with the 3D model. You see what I mean? So it's very impractical basically. But why? Ah, I'm stupid. Let's raise this to 1. And then this, we're lowering it to 0. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Now it should be good. Alright. I never played them too. I'm more of a Shin Megami. I haven't played Shin Megami either. Okay, see? Okay, so you see what I mean? So now... Oh, fuck's sake. Hold on. 15. Okay. So now, for instance, like we're good, right? The player is always looking at the sphere, but they're not... So see? He's not looking downward anymore. You see what I mean? Okay. Like that. Whee! Okay, perfect. So now the next step would be to create, I would recommend it. I only played Persona 5 and Shin Megami Tensei 5 though. Yeah, well, I honestly, I've never been too big into like JRPGs and stuff like that. The only real JRPG I've ever played was, fuck, what was it called? Holy shit, hold on. What was that game called? It's super old, hold on. JRPG. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, yeah, it's Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Yeah, this game here. That's the that's the only JRPG I've ever played. And that game was so poorly balanced, you have no idea. Oh, fuck. Oh, my back is like full of knots, so I can like barely move it. It's ridiculous. Okay, so now we have our player thing working here. Okay, so now, now, now that we have the basic movement done, I'm thinking, what should I do next? What should I do next? Well, actually, you guys let me know what next part of like basic, let's say MOBA, would you be interested in? Would you want immediately to get into player abilities, or would you want more so to get... Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like probably the best thing to start off with would be, let's say, player abilities, like player auto attacks, stuff like that, right? Is what I'm thinking. Okay. So let's say, script, MOBA script. Can I guess we're just gonna create projectile MOBA. Okay, or a melee attack. Okay, yeah, we can do a melee attack as well. Okay. So for now, I'm gonna basically create a placeholder melee attack, but it's eventually later on, once we get into animations, then I'm gonna modify the melee attack and have like a real proper melee attack that is going to be linked to the animations themselves, right? So let me just see. Hold on. Okay, just give me a second. All right, well, first of all, these ones, we don't really need them. Okay. Second of all, here, like that. Okay, we have projectile magic. Jesus. Okay, so we have this here, projectile. Let's go back to our platformer. Let's see. Okay, projectile. Okay. So let's do this like that. Let's just copy paste a bunch of stuff. Okay. Core variables. Okay, this projectile's explosion object, sure. This projectiles, this is the arm that spawned this projectile. This projectiles, let's say origin object. But honestly, this is the object that spawned. This one I might remove it eventually. Okay, movement. Variables, this projectile movement direction, this projectile movement speed. Okay. All right, now let's do the typical, this like that, except we're gonna keep it like that. Yeah, and for now this is good. Okay, void start like that. Projectile lifetime, projectile movement. Boom, like that. Current lifetime, blah blah blah. This projectile current lifetime. Game object new explosion, blah blah blah. Okay, yeah, that's good. Projectile movement. There you go. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so we're gonna keep this for now, and now what I'm gonna do is on trigger enter collider, let's say enemy. So let's say right here. Okay, and now let's create a new enemy script. Let's say, okay, mono behavior enemy MOBA. Oh, the fuck is this? What? Okay. Okay, like that. Enemy MOBA. Okay, there you go. Boom. Okay. Okay, like that. Projectile MOBA. Enemy MOBA. Current enemy MOBA script. Enemy MOBA. Yeah, okay. This projectile lifetime. Okay, yeah. Okay, perfect. So we have this like that. Okay. And now basically what I'm thinking of doing, okay, is for the difference between the melee attack and the ranged attack is simply gonna be that the melee attack is gonna be a big projectile that just appears in front of the player and hold on. Okay. Hold on. How can I do this? Well, actually, okay, I'm actually simply gonna create a melee attack MOBA. Okay, and we're gonna double click this. Oops. Okay, melee attack like that. And actually projectile, just gonna copy paste all of this. Basically we're just gonna copy paste everything right here like that. Okay, then for now we're gonna rename this to melee attack ID, melee attack type. Yeah, whatever, we're gonna keep this because we're not really gonna be using this for now. This melee attacks origin object. This melee attacks VFX object. Okay. This, so it's not gonna, or actually yes, this melee attack lifetime, this melee attack current lifetime, or time elapsed. Okay. We're not gonna have this. Okay, and damage, yeah. Okay, so like this. Melee attack lifetime. Yeah, well, we're not gonna have melee attack movement. Okay, holy shit. Okay, let me catch up with chat. What about dash move? Yeah, we could do that as well. I've played most of them, and honestly, I don't know how to feel about that suggestion. I'd recommend you play the Persona 2 duology if that's not your speed. Big oof, go Persona 4. I actually played Disco Elysium some time back. It was woke, but at least a bit fun. I wanted to build my fascist regime, but got scolded by the Chinese. WOTR. Okay, in Pt.1, you meet a lesbian orc captain of the guard within a few minutes of the last game. I don't know what PT is. Persona 5 is a hollow rehash of 4. Gameplay is better, but characters and story took a huge hit. Yeah, glad you stepped in. I never played that many Shin Megami Tensei games, but loved my time with both. I'll play those games when I get the chance. Sounds good. Persona 5 was hugely disappointing. Fortunately, there's a model line that blah blah. Man, I should just play Persona 4. I said, but what was long? But that was long after I decided to not touch Owlcat games. What the fuck are Owlcat games? The name sounds familiar. Hold on. Owlcat games. Dark. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, it's not like P5 was terrible. The bigger issue with Wrath than just the absurd propaganda is that the game has that specific writing that annoying women do. What do you mean annoying women? Right? That's an oxymoron. It's just women. You can't escape it. Hey, it's the Mechabellum guy. How's the dev process going? Oh, hey, Valor. The dev process is going well. After this stream is probably going to be a little shorter than usual, just because I'm going to show you. We're probably going to finish with the melee, with a melee attack, a ranged attack, and possibly a movement ability. And once we're done with that, I'm probably going to move on to my second live stream of the day, which is right now I have it scheduled for 3 in the afternoon, but it might actually be sooner than that. I just scheduled it a bit later to give myself time, but it might be a bit sooner than that, where I'm actually going to be working on my game. So if you're interested in my video game, then and like in participating in the creation of the video game, I'm going to be building the galaxy, which is basically going to be like it's level design, but very broad in the sense that I'm designing like the world map of my game. Technically, it's a galactic map, but it works as a world map. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And it's going to be a much more chill stream. I'm probably going to be in voice chat with some other people. So if anybody here is interested in joining, I'm just going to put the link to the Discord server. Just give me a second. Invite people, copy. The galaxy is kind of shaped like a shuriken. But again, right now it's still very much like placeholder. Like in the last stream, I barely had any time to only do the basics, right? So we're just getting started, so that's what's fun. It's like you guys get to really interact with the very start of how can I say with the very start of how the game is gonna look like, basically, right? Okay, there you go. Right, hey, Adderall addict, amazing. Let me just give you the role of plebeian, like everybody else. There you go. Okay, so let's get back to what I was doing. Okay, so right now, basically I created the melee attack, which is the same. The logic is very similar to what's it called? To the projectile stuff, but here's what I'm gonna change, okay? I'm going to have core variables. Fuck, hold on. Core variables. Okay, public bool is attacking bool equals false. Okay, is attacking bool. And then here I'm gonna change this instead of origin object to just this melee attacks visual object. Or I guess it's really the same as the VFX. This melee attacks VFX object. This object will be activated whenever the player does a melee attack. Okay, is attacking. So what we're going to do is melee attack lifetime is attacking bool. So if is attacking bool equals true, which by the way, I know that I can just write it like this, right? This is the same as this, but I prefer writing it like that just because I'm OCD, right? I like it when everything is explicitly said, basically. Oh my god, red herring. No, it does not. Okay, so okay, so just give me a second here. Is attacking boolean true? Okay, so when the is attacking boolean equals true, okay, first after this timer runs out, deactivate the okay, after this timer runs out, deactivate the melee attack visuals and reset its boolean. Okay, now here what we're gonna do is dot set active false. Okay, if inactive, activate the melee VFX object. If VFX object dot active self equals false, then set active true, and then here we're just gonna do equals false. There you go. Okay, and then here what we're gonna do is if is attacking bool equals true, then no, we're not gonna do this. We're simply gonna do that. Okay, and this like that. Okay, so now let's go back to our player manager. Okay, and let's do here header combat. Okay, header combat variables, combat variables, public it wants the space merchant faction takes for Jesus. Okay, public, I'm gonna say game object, this melee attack object. And now here I'm gonna do variables for interacting with other scripts. And now we're gonna do a private melee attack MOBA. This melee attack script. Okay, this melee attack script. So now in void start, we're just gonna set it up. Melee attack script equals melee object dot get. Oh, perfect. Okay, and now left click. We're gonna do melee dot is attacking equals true. So if melee dot is attacking equals false, okay, like that. I know I'm doing things very quickly, but at this point we're kind of I'm assuming you guys are kind of getting the hang of it, of how things are going. So, and again, like just to save on time, I'm trying to go a bit quickly, just also because I'm gonna have to leave this afternoon at around 5:36. So like 5:30 to 6, not 5:36, but somewhere between 5:30 and 6 in the afternoon. So that's why I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible. Okay, so let's say left mouse is going to be melee attack, right? So left mouse, this melee attack script, yeah, is attacking, yeah, so make it true. And then, whoops, melee attack, when this is true, if the melee attacks, this melee attacks VFX object is false, you set it to true, and then you just run this thing, and once we get to the lifetime, the VFX disappears, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now, let's combine, let's wait for it to compile. You know, okay, all right, so let's just do this. Let's say player melee attack object, or actually melee attack VFX object. Create empty. It's gonna be called melee attack parent object. Okay, so, oh, what the fuck? Oh, Jesus. Come on. Okay, there we go. So here we have the front of our character, right? Beautiful, I know. You know? So, for the melee attack, let's see, like that. Okay. Let's say box collider. 1 by 1 by 1. Yep, it's gonna be trigger. Let's give it a rigid body. It's not gonna use gravity. It's not gonna use any of these things. Let's. Okay, hold on. Here the visuals, we're gonna remove this, and for the materials we're gonna give it transparent red. Haha, there you go. Red transparent, and we're gonna change its shape to be, let's say, yeah, let's see, nope. Haha, there you go. Okay, let's say it's gonna be like a diagonal slash, just for fun, right? So we're gonna say 0.15 like that to 1.5 like that. Okay, so that's gonna be like the slash, let's say. Okay. Oh, okay, see you later, Mart. Okay, so here we have our like diagonal slash or whatever, right? And then here, if we go back to script, MOBA script, fuck's sake, melee attack, there you go. There is the VFX object. Let's say it's gonna last half a second. And it's gonna do 1 damage or whatever. But I mean, right now the damage system is not gonna work. I'm probably gonna implement this tomorrow. So now this thing, for now I could leave it like that, or I could of course do this like that. Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, there you go, like that. And then what was it, 1.5, right? Or no, it was 2, 1.5, and then 0.15. Okay, there you go, perfect. Okay, like that. And it doesn't matter that much that this object, that this parent object, its rotation is weird and stuff, because this won't really move. So it doesn't really matter. But if I were to make it move, it would end up looking really weird, basically. Because remember, like when the parent objects are not 1, 1, 1 in terms of scale, it starts to distort all of the children, right? But again, for the sake of simplicity, I'm making it like that just because I know I'm not going to be messing too much with it, right? Okay, like this. And then player, oops, wait. Okay, game manager. Here, this melee attack, like that. Okay. Oops, let's put this here like that. Okay, so now let's press play. Let's see. Now in theory, every time I left click, it should do the attack, basically. Okay. Oh, did it do it? Okay, it's not. Or is it just too quick? Huh. Okay, hold on. I think there's a problem with the way I've set up the timer. So if is attacking equals true, then if this is false, unless player manager, if is attacking is false, make it true, right? Okay, so hold on. So then if it's true and this is inactive, activate it. Then if time elapsed, oh fuck, okay, no, I know what the problem is. I'm stupid. Minus equal time F, because this wasn't getting reset, so that's why it wasn't happening. Okay. Ah la la. Once again, the typical stupid bullshit, okay, problems that I always make. All right, so now let's see. Okay, so now we can see that the attack actually works, right? The problem is that it is not rotating along with our character because I did not put it as a child. Okay, so now let's do this. Now let's press play. Okay, see? There you go. Like that. Kapow! Kapow! There you go, right? And then if you want to, for instance, have multiple melee attacks, you can create a list, right? I might eventually do this, but for now, again, like, because the point of these streams is to just show how to do stuff, but like, again, it's just to do the basic stuff, right? So the point here, right, is if you would want to have multiple attacks, right, you could create a list. So like public, let me go somewhere that has a list. Ooh. Okay, there you go. Public list of type game object. Public list of type game object. Let's say melee attacks list. Melee attacks objects list equals new list. New list of type game object, like that. What's the error? This is for objects that can exist in a scene. Add components. The non-generic type list cannot be used. Ah, fuck's sake. All right. Because okay, so yeah, okay, there you go. NUnit framework. Okay, I'm not using NUnit framework. Okay, so hold on. Public list. There you go. System collections generic. There you go. This is the type of list I'm using. So be mindful of this. There are certain like types of variables and stuff, right, that have the exact same name. They look the exact same. Oh, hey, Zeno. But they're based on a different library or whatever it's called. So they can cause problems, basically. Okay. Well, actually, yeah, this was... Okay, it was new. There you go. Perfect. Right, and so here we would say index equals attack ID, list element equals attack object, right? And then here what we would do is simply have public int okay, fuck this, hold on, current attack ID equals 0. Okay, now let's just copy paste this because I put it in the wrong. Let's go into the player manager. Here, combat variables, like this. And basically what you can do is, let's say, so instead of this, like that, right, you can do if attack ID is lower than list, nope, attack list dot count, then what we do is attack script equals melee list dot attack ID dot get component melee attack MOBA, like that, and then we just do this like that, and then we do attack ID plus equals 1, and then here we say current attack ID is greater or equal to this, right? Then we just do this like that. Boom. Okay. And so now what this would look like, okay? Because you know, oftentimes in games you have like, let's say, first attack is one swing, second attack is a swing but in another direction, and then like the third attack is like a double swing or whatever, right? So let's make that happen, right? While we're on the topic. Okay, so just give me a second. Melee attack parent object 0 0. Okay, and now let's just copy paste and do this 0 1 and basically just make it like that, right? And then 0 2 and then okay, like that, and then this one is going to be 45. Hold on. Okay, so 90. Okay, like that. Actually, yeah, this one's going to be 0, and its scale, hold on, is going to be 2 2 2, like that, let's say, or like 1.5 1.5 1.5, let's say, like that. And then this one's going to be 45, and this one's going to be minus 45. Okay, and now we're going to go into this here, and we're going to say 1 2 3. Okay. These ones, yeah, they're all okay. Great. Melee attack object attack VFX parent, like that. Again, I'm doing this really quickly, right? Because the point is just functionality, not like style or anything, right? So let's see. Now hopefully it should be working, but just let me just verify one last time. Current attack, blah blah blah. Boom boom boom. Okay, so is this used anywhere in particular? Okay, yeah, well, that doesn't matter. Okay, here we can just do this. Okay, all right, let's save all. Okay, it should be working now. Okay, so let's do this. Oops, not like that. All right. Can you stop speaking Yiddish? You freaks. Okay, so now the way I've coded it right now is, hold on. Okay. Okay, perfect. So it's working. Okay. So look, I do basic attack 1, basic attack 2, basic attack 3, right? Like 1 slash, 2 slashes, 3, right? Or rather like right slash, left slash, double slash. Right slash, left slash, double slash. There you go. See? Like that, right? Boom. There you go. Again, like if you guys have any questions, comments, whatever, let me know. But yeah, so that's how I would make a very basic melee attack. Eventually, once we add animations, I'm gonna show you how to like incorporate this with animations, because certain games link the actual melee combat. Ooh, okay, good, good, good. I like what I'm hearing, Silver Sterling. But yeah, so the idea is certain games link the melee combat to animations, right? So let me explain to you what that looks like, right? So let's go here in Paint, okay? So let's say you have like a sword, right? Like let's say this is a sword, okay? And you want to swing it this way, right? And like this here is going to be the enemy that you want to hit, right? So the idea is because what I mean when I say that the melee combat is linked to the animation is that you have a game object, which is the sword. You have a script, which is like the, let's say, melee attack script, or like the sword script, or whatever you want to call it, right? And then let's say you have the green thing here is like the hitbox, right, of the sword, right? So then what you're doing is when the sword swings, how can I say, it's not a script making the sword move the way that we're making our character move with WASD, right? Rather, it's when you press, let's say in our case, it's left click. When you press left click, right, the script is gonna send out a like a directive or whatever you want to call it, right? Like it's gonna send out some data to the sword object that's going to make it play its swing animation, right? What the fuck are you guys saying? Hold on, let me. You fucking freaks. It says from Jamaican patois. What? Nah. Is it Hebrew? Nope. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, okay, so it is Hebrew. We have to shut it down. All right. So so anyways, so as I was saying, right? Like what's going to play is like the sword swing animation, right? And now if it's a single player game, there aren't really any big issues, and in fact it can be really interesting, right? Because the Mossad is interested. God damn it. So basically if it's like a single player game, it can be very interesting because if your damage state or your attack state or whatever the fuck is linked to the animation, well then if the enemy hits you before you can hit them and that cancels your animation, then at that point this the attack is going to get canceled mid attack basically, right? So that can be interesting, right? But the other problem with that is that it's especially in stuff like multiplayer games, it can create like the game that I was working on before leaving the industry and going full indie. Our melee damage, our melee attack system was based on the animations, and the problem this created is that if you attack, because it was a multiplayer game, if you attacked players from a certain angle, again, I forget the details because I mean it's been like 6 or 7 years, right? But basically, if you have like player 1 here and player 2 here, because the swinging was made in a specific way, right? Like this player here had the advantage, right? The purple player had the advantage. So that's why I'm saying it's like it's weird. Like if you do it based on the animations, you can get a bunch of very weird edge cases, right? Whereas the way I plan on doing it, right, is you have, hold on, you have your target here, you have your sword here, and when you press to attack, right, the invisible hitbox appears, right, and then this at the same time swings. You see what I mean? So the visuals are not actually going to be related to the animation, which again, it has its advantages and its drawbacks, right? The advantage is that you're always going to deal damage. The problem with that is that you're technically going to deal damage depending on how you code it before the sword swings or after or stuff like that, right? So it's a bit dodgy, it's a bit weird. You know what I mean? It's interesting to know that in Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, the lightsaber always has a minor hitbox, so that if you position yourself on an NPC, you can potentially kill with just the idle. And well, yeah, exactly. So see, that's a good example, basically. These days, it's probably all true/false statements without things ever having an actual physical presence. Oh, welcome back, Mart. You just missed me creating the melee attack system. So like Star Wars: The Old Republic, where you deal damage before swings. Well, yeah, exactly. So the reason why this method, like the second method, the one I'm using right now, the reason it's used is because if you're basing it off of animations in an online game, especially something like an MMO, it can be really inconsistent, because animations is one of those things that in general, the way they code it in multiplayer games is that animations aren't always shown because long story short, okay, let me give you a brief rundown of how multiplayer works, right? You have computer one, right? So let's call it player one, and let's say here you have player two, okay, player two, and you have a bunch of shit that's happening with both, right? Okay, so let's say UI, okay, let's say like player movement, so movement, right? Let's say sound, so SFX, and let's say VFX, right? For like the visual effects, right? And then for player one, you have the exact same stuff, right? VFX, SFX, okay, movement, and UI, okay? And then what you have here is, let's say the server, right? So then here you have the server, okay? I know my calligraphy is amazing. Okay, server. So what happens is, oh, Jesus. But yeah, so basically the way it works, okay, is that the game takes some of the data, okay, from that's happening on like both players or whatever, and it sends it to the server, right? And vice versa, right? So they communicate with one another, right? Like, so there's like a mutual communication, right? So the server receives stuff like the player input, right? Like player two wants to move a certain way, player one wants to move a certain other way, right? And so the server is going to keep track of that, and it's going to update every single, so it's going to update P1 movement, okay? It's going to update P2 movement, okay? And so on and so forth, right? But stuff like the UI, right? You don't need to update this, right? Like each player can have their own UI. Like if you want to set up the volume of your game using the UI, right? Like, or if you open your menu, it's not going to open everyone else's menus, right? it's all compartmentalized, right? So for instance, never gets shared, right? What else? Sound effects usually doesn't get shared either, right? Movement, because it's a must in a multiplayer game, then that gets shared. And then visual effects, it's like yes, but no, right? Because certain things like ragdolls, sometimes the developers decide for everybody to have the exact same ragdolls. Other times, each player gets a completely separate ragdoll, right? And the reason they do that is because if the ragdoll is not what's the word? It's not essential to the gameplay, but it still takes a lot of juice, right? Like it still affects performance. Well, it's easier to keep it localized to each player. So when someone dies, there's going to be a ragdoll, but the ragdoll is going to look different for each player, right? But then if you have something like Halo, right, where in Halo the ragdoll is a direct part of the gameplay, for instance, the way like vehicles move around and they bounce around and stuff like that, right? Well, then in that case, the ragdoll needs to be the same for every player. You see what I mean? And so the reason why I bring this up is because animations is sometimes that type of stuff, right? Like certain animations are going to be shared. So let's do this animation. Oops, wow, I can't fucking write. Okay, animations, right? Oftentimes, most animations are going to be shared for players to see, like, oh, this character is charging up animation. So this character is like charging up an ability, right? Or stuff like that, right? Then in that case, yes, it's going to be shared, right? Like every player is going to see like the casting animation or whatever, right? But then there are certain other animations that aren't necessarily shared and stuff like that, right? So for instance, it might be like the idle animations, which might be different from one player to another and stuff like that, right? So again, that's just a really quick crash course on like online stuff. And it's just to explain for those who just got here, like Mart, who just returned, why I did my melee system the way that I did, right? Which is like first attack, second attack, third attack, right? Boom, 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 right? Like that, right? And again, like if it's a single player game, you can link it to the animations, and eventually in later streams in a couple of weeks, once we get to animations, that's when I'm going to actually properly link. It might not be 100% linked to the animations themselves, but I think it could be cool to actually link it to the animations, just because I feel like that can create more interesting results, right? Okay, so now let me just be right back 5 seconds. Yes, eventually I am going to add stats to the character, but probably not in today's stream, maybe in tomorrow's stream, I'm not sure, right? And the thing is with stats, I have this approach where like I don't like the way most games, especially RPGs, do stats, because it becomes like way too like power creep, right? It becomes like ridiculous numbers, like, oh, you did 234 damage. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? 234 damage, right? Oh, you did a crit with 8,600 damage. Like, okay, cool, but like that means nothing, right? And I know why developers do it. It's because it's been studied that like big numbers and like big sounds, right? Like you hit someone and it does like some kind of sound effect. That usually stimulates players' dopamine receptors, and so players play the game more. But I personally don't enjoy this type of design. I prefer stats that are how can I say, that are like intuitive, right? So instead of having like 694 endurance, right? You can have like 1, 2, 3 points of endurance, and depending on how many points you have, you might be like, your character might be able to perform certain actions or not others, right? Exactly. It also opens the door for cheesing, right? Numbers are nice, but don't need to fly. Yeah, exactly, right? Okay, so now just to finalize today's stream, as I said, it's probably going to be a bit shorter, and we're almost at the 2 hour mark. I'm probably going to add. Okay, I'm gonna add 2 really quick mechanics. I'm gonna add the projectile, and then I'm going to add the what's it called? I'm gonna add the I'm gonna add some sort of teleport mechanic, right? So okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna do a list, right? Public list of type float, and I'm gonna call it ability cooldowns list equals new list float, index equals ability ID, list element equals abilities elapsed, or abilities cooldown. Okay, and then here we're going to do another list float, and we're going to call it ability CDs time elapsed list equals new, boom, like that. Okay, index equals ability ID, list element equals time elapsed. Okay, okay, so now let's create another function that's going to be the cooldowns. So void cooldowns, so ability cooldowns. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is, it's a for loop. Hold on. Cooldowns like that. Okay, and then here it's go through every single ability and update its cooldown. Okay, hold on, and now here I'm gonna do another one, public list of type boolean, and I'm gonna do abilities used. Okay, used abilities list. Used abilities list equals, there you go. Index equals ability ID, list element equals whether said ability has been used. Okay, and now here, okay, go through every single ability and update its cooldown. So we're gonna do loop index 0. Loop index 0 is lower than used abilities list dot count loop index plus plus. Okay, so now let me explain what I'm gonna do here. Oh wait, until you play a JRPG, they do everything with 3 or more. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. So when your hitbox would hit an enemy, how would you go about canceling the hitbox after to not have an instance where you could move away fast enough where it could be counted again in the same time. Well, exactly. So that's typically why people link to animations, because that way when you link the attack to the animation, the moment you move away, you animation cancel, and so the attack gets canceled like mid swing or stuff like that. Or another solution of doing it, which would work with the system we have right now, is to make it so that whenever an enemy gets hit, they also, as they receive the damage, as they get hit, they also have another variable in their own script, in the enemy script, that says like has been hit, right? And then you can have a very tiny timer that's like a quarter of a second or half a second, during which the enemy can't get hit again, right? So you can do, right, like again, like the sky's the limit, right? It really depends on what your design, what kind of design you're going for, right? So now let me explain how I'm thinking about doing the ability cooldowns, right? The way I'm thinking of doing them is, here I have these three lists, right? This list is a list of type Boolean, and it's only going to keep track of which abilities have I used, right? And so the index is the ability index, right? Here it's what is the cooldown of each ability, and then this list here is how much time has elapsed since I've used the ability, right? And so what I'm gonna do, hold on. And so for this for loop here, because all three of the lists I just mentioned are pretty much, they have the same number of indexes, this loop can allow me to interact with all three lists at the same time. You see what I mean? So we're like hitting three birds with one stone, right? So now what do we do, okay? First, check to see if current ability has been used, okay? So if used abilities list loop index 0 equals true, then update its cooldown. Okay, so if ability CD's time elapsed list is lower than ability cooldowns list loop 0, then we do this like that, plus equals time dot delta time. Okay, otherwise, if this is greater or equal to cooldowns list, okay, like that, then what we do is false, like that, and then this minus equals cooldowns list. There you go. Okay. All right. Yeah, and that's it. This would basically be how to reset our cooldowns, right? And then what I'm gonna do is let's say okay, get mouse button 1. Okay, so get mouse button up, it's gonna be 2. Oh wait, right, it's gonna be 1, so it's gonna be right click, we're gonna move this to here, and again, a quick reminder that this thing here, okay, only detects the frame, right, returns true during the frame the user releases the given button, right? Whereas if it's just get mouse button, it returns whether the given mouse button is held down, right? So both of these can be useful for if you have certain mechanics where like holding down a button or an attack is going to charge it up, for instance. You would use this, right? Like the longer you hold right click, the stronger your attack becomes or something like that, right? Whereas this here, it's only when you release it, right? So here it would be like, as long as you hold this, it's charging up power, and then the moment you release, then you shoot like, let's say a projectile that does however much damage, for instance, right? So here what I would do is, we're gonna say, so here we have ability cooldowns, and here I'm gonna do void player projectile. Okay, like that, void player projectile. Oh wait, we're gonna say public void, and then right click. Okay, we're gonna remove this, and we're gonna say player projectile, like that. Do I have a projectile? Melee attack. Okay, so let's say public game object player projectile prefab object is gonna be, so this is used to spawn projectiles. Okay, and we're gonna say private projectile MOBA, this projectile script. Okay, let me just see here. I'm gonna put this to the side. I'm gonna say, okay. So this is more or less done. So then in that case, where is it? Let me see just the code, because I always forget how to properly spawn something. Fuck's sake. Okay. Bitch ass. Where the fuck was... Why can't I find the most basic fucking shit? Okay, there you go. Okay. So here we're literally just gonna do this, okay? Game object newly spawned projectile object equals instantiate projectile player projectile prefab object, like that, at the player's position. So transform, no, so player movement object dot transform dot position, and then same thing, player object dot transform dot rotation, right, like that. So let's see, equals instantiate, like that, just because it's easier to read. And I think that should actually be more or less good. And then activate ranged attack cooldown. Okay, so here we're gonna do, let's say the ranged attack is the first ability that we have. So used abilities. Okay, used abilities 0 equals true. There you go. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right. So now let's set everything up, because I technically haven't set it up yet. Okay, here we go. So here are our three lists. for now we only have one thing, but I'm gonna create like 3 random abilities, right? So let's say we can send out a ranged attack every half a second. Then our second ability has a 1.5 second cooldown, and our third ability has a 3 second cooldown, let's say, right? And then let's create a projectile script. How can I say a projectile prefab? Okay, so let's do here 3D object sphere projectile. Okay. Okay. My brain is melting. Hold on. Projectile. Prefab. I don't know. Whatever. We're gonna call it this. Okay, like that. What is? Okay, it's gonna be a trigger. It's gonna be a rigid body, not affected by gravity. Technically, for now, there are no enemies, so it doesn't really matter for me to set it up this way, but hold on, material. Let's make it red. Okay, there you go. Projectile prefab. Let's go here, prefabs. Folder MOBA. Prefabs, MOBA. Prefabs. Yeah. Okay, like that. Oh fuck, hold on. I forgot to add it to give it the projectile script. Projectile MOBA script. Okay, so this projectile damage 1, projectile speed, let's say 15, direction 1, this projectile lifetime, let's say 3 seconds. This projectile origin doesn't matter. This projectile explosion, whatever, doesn't really matter either. But let me just go into here, into the projectile thing. And we're just gonna, yeah, just to avoid bugs relating to the explosion. Okay, so now, hold on. Let's boost it to 30. Okay, like that. Okay, so now we have the projectile prefab. Apply all. Okay, so now we delete this. We go here, prefabs. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, like that. And then player projectile prefab. Okay, so now in theory it should be working more or less. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Yeah. If it loads. Okay, so let's look at our lists here, okay? So first attack, second melee attack, third melee attack, first, second, third. Oh. Okay, interesting. Okay, so that would be something to fix, that I can basically do 3 attacks at once, right? Like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay, and then, oh, interesting. Okay. So the way I've coded it right now is that it doesn't. Okay. Right. Okay, and as you can see here, the cooldown does work, right? Like if I try to spam it as quickly as possible, right? Because there's a 0.5 second cooldown limit, right? Right? Okay. Now let's say I used ability number 1. Boom. See, its cooldown is activating. If you look at the, right? There you go. Okay. So the reason why my projectiles are always going in the same direction is very simple. Let me just okay, let me just do the following. Private player, private player manager MOBA, this player manager MOBA script, okay, and then void start, yeah, in void start we're gonna do player, oh fuck, hold on, this player manager MOBA script dot equals player manager MOBA instance, boom, like that. And then what I'm gonna do is this projectile movement direction equals this player dot transform dot for now. Let's see if this is gonna change it actually. I'm not sure. It might fix it, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. Is this gonna fix it? Hold on, let me just this player. Oh no, no. Exactly. Dot player movement object. There you go. Dot forward. Okay, now hopefully this should get it working. Okay, I could potentially make it so I could check which attack strings actually hit the enemy and cancel it the moment they hit that specific enemy, but also count for damage. That's why, well, yeah, for instance. Does it have some limitations compared to Unity? Yeah, I can imagine the pain. Unity is universal. RPG Maker is mostly for JRPG, and even then, mostly story-focused ones. Most of the well-reviewed RPG Maker games are known for atmosphere and writing, not combat. Okay, many of them have no combat at all. I figured. One dev I follow had many problems with RPG Maker. Wait to hear Randy's opinion on RPG Maker. For example, her game got too big at one point and she had to fix many things that broke the code. Yeah, well, that's welcome to game dev. Okay, so let's test it out now, right? Let's actually test out if our projectiles have been fixed. Hold on. Okay, melee attack, melee attack, melee attack. Yeah, okay, they haven't been fixed. Wait, what? What? Hold on. The fuck? Okay. Now my movement is fucked. Why the fuck is my movement fucked? Okay, hold on. Okay, flat forward. Fuck. Let's just remove this and that, like that. Okay. Player object. Oh, player movement object. Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, hold on. Okay, no, this was good. This was good. Player movement object, and then public game object. Player body object. Okay, this is the object controlled by the player. Okay. This is the object that represents the player character's visual body. Okay. Okay, this is why it was fucking up. Body. Okay, there you go. now it probably won't fix the weird movement bug, but it should hopefully fix the projectiles. All right, hold on, like that. Save, save, save. All right, come on. Ah, no. Okay. What? Huh. Okay, yeah, I'm confused. Completely confused. Oh, fuck's sake. Where is the queue? Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, no, okay, so my movement, something's fucked with the movement. I really have no idea. And fuck, it's getting late. We're already 2 hours something into the stream. Okay. So probably again, I have no idea how long it's gonna take me, and at this point I'm kind of getting tired of like having to fix so many bugs during the streams because it's preventing us, it's basically preventing me from showing you guys other stuff. So at this point, what I think I'm gonna do is whenever we have like big bugs like these, and especially since we're already kind of at the end of the stream, we've been going for at least 2 hours now. What I'm gonna do is probably tomorrow, before the tomorrow's game dev stream, I'm gonna look into this and like fix it, and then obviously like I'm gonna show you guys where the error was and how I fixed it and everything, just to like not waste time basically. And then we're gonna keep going. Tomorrow I'm thinking of maybe adding abilities, and probably next week I'm gonna start messing around with nav mesh. Now the reason I didn't do nav mesh from the get-go and stuff is that I haven't touched nav mesh in years. The last time I messed around with nav mesh was like in 2020, I think. Right, so that was like years ago, like half a decade ago, actually. And so I'm really rusty with nav mesh, and I looked it up quickly recently, and it apparently they've changed the way nav mesh works. So I'm gonna have to relearn it basically, and so because of that, it's gonna have to wait. But the general idea of nav mesh, right? And we're gonna end on that, right? On that little lesson about what nav mesh is and the way it works, is that let's say stop casting spells, you know. Okay, this is a kosher live stream. Okay, so let's say you're looking at a map, right? Like at a game map from above, right? And let's say here you have, I don't know, like a box, right? And here you have like another box or whatever the fuck, right? Okay. When you create a nav mesh, okay, it's basically going to create, the nav mesh usually is in blue, and it's going to create, hold on, let me just make it like this, for instance, right? Like that, right? And then all the rest is blue, okay? So the idea with the nav mesh, okay, is that everything in blue is covered by this nav mesh, which allows AI or even the player, right? It allows basically anything that has a script connected to the nav mesh to move within like this world, right? So in theory, what you could also have is program your nav mesh to also work on certain surfaces, right? Which are short enough, right? So what do I mean by this? I mean that maybe that this box is small enough to allow players to like clamber on top of them, or Yeah, I won't. Don't worry, Silver. The idea is it allows the player to clamber up on this box because the box itself isn't that big, right? But maybe this box here is way too tall for players to like jump on top of it, and so there's no nav mesh on it, right? And so what this means is that if you're playing a game and you're running away from the AI, right? So let's say this is the player character and like you're running away, right? And then you can like jump on top of this, right? But the AI that is chasing you, right? It can also jump up on this because it has a nav mesh on it, right? Now let's say the player character doesn't need the nav mesh, but the AI are using the nav mesh, right? And let's say the player character finds a way to like, I don't know, like jump, like basically some way somehow the player finds a way to get on top of this crate here, right? Well, because this thing doesn't have a nav mesh, right? All of the enemies are just gonna be sitting around and wondering like, oh, where's the player? Where has he gone, right? And so this is why in a lot of games, like whether it's Assassin's Creed or a lot of, you know, like the what are they called, like Starfield or all of these like stupid Bethesda games and shit. That's why or even what was it called, um like the Star Wars Outlaws game or whatever. That's why like when the player enters an area where there's no nav mesh, well, the AI, if it's programmed in a really stupid way, yeah, shit wars outhouse, exactly. so, so the AI, if it's programmed in a really lazy and stupid way, right? The AI is just gonna be like, huh, where is the player? Even though the AI might be fucking staring at the player, right? But because the player isn't inside the nav mesh, the script is just telling the AI like, oh, I don't know, I'm like, I can't detect him. He's nowhere, like, you know what I mean? And that's why you get so many games where people are like, what the fuck is this AI, right? It's because they just went into an area where like the nav mesh doesn't exist, right? Or another example would be, let's say, hold on, let me erase this, right? So let's say that this here, like that, okay? Okay, let's say that this here, okay? This is how this nav mesh works, right? Let's say, oh fuck, where the fuck is my, okay, there we go. Hold on, let's make it nice because I have OCD. Okay, so let's say the player, as you can see here, the player jumps on top of this, right? And let's say the enemy AI, they're like, oh, oh fuck, this isn't good. Okay, let's say the enemy are like, okay, like we're gonna chase him, and the nav mesh tells me that this right here is like the fastest path, right? But then the player simply jumps off, and now the AI are like, oh, well, shit, okay, fastest way is back this way, right? And then the player jumps back on, right? And then the AI are like, oh, all right, let's go back, right? That's also why you get silly stuff like that, right? Where like the AI looks like it's retarded, but it's not actually retarded. It's just very limited in its programming, right? The latest Indiana Jones had issues like what you're describing, Randy. Enemies won't attack you if you were at certain places. Like, well, exactly. So that's probably like they probably really rushed the coding when it comes to that stuff, right? And made it really basic. And they're like, oh, well, you know, the players aren't gonna try to cheese the AI, right? They're gonna role play along with the story. And it's like, well, no. Most players are here to play a game, not to watch a movie with minimal interaction, basically. The problem is that I don't know a lot about engines. This is a first time for me. Okay. The skills acquired are unlikely to go to waste. If you decide to make something in a different genre, you'll already know the basics exactly. I don't like Unreal 5 because of recent DEI policies they implemented. Oh shit, I didn't even know about that. By the way, I know this is old news, but did Unity decide to monetize the games, or did they go? Oh, they went back like a while ago, maybe like 1 or 2 years ago. They went back, and now their monetization system is actually better than it was originally. So I mean, but don't get me wrong, right? Like what they did is still a big breach of trust, right? And me personally, if I had the ability to have my own game engine, I would probably have my own game engine, right? Or if I had the money to just buy Unity, then I would buy Unity, and then I wouldn't have to worry about any of this bullshit, right? But obviously I'm not like a billionaire, so you know. Um, but yeah, okay. So that was a quick crash course on NavMesh. Maybe next weekend I'm gonna be able to show you guys stuff about NavMesh. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Until then, uh, we'll see. We're gonna keep adding little by little stuff to this. What's it called? Uh, oh, oh fuck's sake! Hold on. Oh fuck's sake! Okay, player character. Okay, hold on. Let me just see this last thing. Wait, what? Wait. Player character here. Okay. Save. Save. Okay. Just give me a second. But honestly, I mean, Unity is also really good. Like the advantage of having... Ah, okay, well, there you go, there you go. Now I fixed the projectile. See, boom, 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 boom. Ah, okay, well, there you go. See, okay, well, there you go. I fixed both bugs because they were related to the same thing. Okay. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew. There you go. Okay. So there you go. So this is fixed. Again, for those of you who are new to the server, after every game dev stream, I post a zip file of this. Use it and like use it as a template or just learn from it or as an example or whatever the fuck. Like do whatever the fuck you want with it. I don't care. And yeah, probably I'm probably gonna end the stream soon. And then at 3 p.m. today, so in about 40 minutes, I'm gonna return for what's it called? For the galaxy building stream. By the way, like did my stream cut off, or this better not turn into a vampire? Okay. Wouldn't such an AI nav mesh problem be mitigated if the enemy had a detection box / sphere on them and had some kind of wherewithal to wait or attack the player if they couldn't get to the player? Well, yeah, that you do have stuff like that. Like if you look at Elden Ring, right? Like when you run away from an enemy, right? Like the bears, when you run away from them and they can't reach you, they start like screaming at you, right? So that's how you can see the AI is programmed to do even ranged attacks when they can't get to you, right? But again, it just depends on the game, right? But by the way, sorry to interrupt, but what kind of RPG is this? I mean, what genre? Well, so this is basically a single player MOBA type of prototype. Just because the MOBA prototype is perfect to it's the perfect template that will allow us to make all the other RPG prototypes, right? We're gonna use this as a template for all the other actual real RPGs that we're gonna be making. You know what I mean? Because a MOBA is basically like the most basic version of an RPG that exists, right? So anyways, so yeah, as I was saying, I'm gonna put like in a couple of minutes, I'm gonna put like a zip of this project in the Discord server, and then at around 3 p.m. Eastern, North American Eastern time today, so in about 40 minutes, I'm gonna do my second Galaxy live stream. And so for anybody who's interested, you can join the voice chat in you can join the voice chat in the Discord server, and like it's gonna be a more chill stream and stuff like that, right? But yeah, so that's the plan. That's today's stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, any comments, leave them in the comments below. I'm just gonna put one last time the invite link to the Discord server. Just give me a second. Invite people like that. Boom. I don't love League of Legends, but I don't hate it. You know, I'm neutral on it. I like to study game genres more. Unfortunately, there aren't many documentaries or books. Well, yeah. But yeah, okay. Anyways, I said today was gonna be a short stream. It ended up being the same length as all the other streams. Typical. But yeah, that's life. So I'm gonna technically they are successors to Warcraft 3 as much because of its RPG. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in about 35 minutes or so for my Galaxy live stream. So yeah, so feel free to join, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Take care, and yeah, till next time.